While the hosts and guests are encouraged to express their views, they don't necessarily reflect those of the management of Portland Sports Network, but they likely do.
Welcome, Panther fans, to episode 22 of Off the Rails Sports Saturday. I'm your host, Coach Miguel Medeiros, along with John Thayer. Our other co-host, the voice of Panther basketball and baseball, Kyle Eden, is on his way, so he'll be popping in here shortly. But good morning, Coach. How are we doing today?
The new mouse works. The other mouse must not quite have been Windows 11 enough compatible. So this one works. So I'm very much more relaxed than I was last week trying to get my mouse to not work.
Do you have a good 4th of July?
When was 4th of July? Last weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as long as I didn't get blown up by firecrackers, I guess. Yeah.
Some people did not. I got
people.
pictures. My daughter is 911 dispatch, and I got pictures from her of an accident they had in Cookeville. Guy decided to tie some ball of rockets along with a shell. It's going to hold a PVC pipe and shoot it all at one time. And he's missing some digits. And
That's brilliant stuff, dude. There was one dude had a Roman candle.
He drove himself to the hospital.
Gatling gun that he.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Did you see it? He was spinning around and Roman candles were coming out. God.
But
I mean, I was nutty when I was a kid, but there was a limit to with the nuttiness that I would do. I thought I was over the top, this nuttiest kid in the world, but I just touching on the surface and doing stupid stuff compared to most people.
But I know 4th of July also brings back the dead period is gone and done now for fall sports. All fall sports and athletics are starting to crank up again. I know football's still in their summer workouts, along with other sports are in their summer workouts. Probably toward the end of July, they'll start into their fall camp. I know talking to the band people 2 weeks ago, they actually started their band camp or fall camp Thursday and Friday of this past week, and they'll go into 5 days. Went into a Wednesday, had to go to a CPR AED training that all coaches have to do now in Sumner County. And what's funny is I was sitting next to Coach Lane from middle school, and it was because the episode that he had 2-3 years ago that is the reason why everybody has to go through this training now, and not just the head coach and 1 or 2 other coaches, but all coaches that's going to be on the field that's dealing with these kids have to go through this training because of an incident that he had.
It's a good deal.
And the AED and CPR saved this kid's life, and that they had, and so it was nice. And the cool thing was, it's not just you're thinking athletics. We talked about this 2 weeks ago with the band. They're out there on pavement, marching in the hot sun. No trainer. We got a trainer over there in football. She's whipping the thing around, taking a wet bulb, saying, "No, you can't practice. You have to go inside. It's too hot. You can't do that. We have to go inside." There's no one out there with the band.
I think the character coach should go over there.
They are actually out there on that pavement, going through the heat that we can't practice in, but they can be in. But the band director was down there taking the AED CPR, and I thought that was pretty cool that he had to do it, because since there's no trainer over there with the band, if they have a kid fall out carrying his horn or whatever,
It's a good idea.
you've got to be able. And I thought you never really think about that right there. It's the band. It's not a sport. It is.
Out in the heat,
You know.
doing strenuous anything
Yeah.
is a sport at that time.
So it just makes you think, and I think it was a good thing, and it really made me feel comfortable seeing him down there going through the training and everything. But
I think about grabbing the one out of the one at the Richland when I'm riding my bike. I feel like grabbing it and just putting it on my bicycle. So if I fall out somewhere, I can go, I got something here. Just
Hell.
put it on
The
me.
last 2 weeks, that's completely justifiable, I feel like.
But today we have our guest today is two guys from Freedom Fitness right here in town. We have owner, CEO, personal trainer Austin Nelson is with us today, along with Coach Colin Lamberth, who is a high school football coach, along with the personal trainer, the 2025 Trainer of the Year
Yeah.
and 2026 Personal Trainer finalist.
That's right.
And so I guess he didn't do a great job this year compared to last year.
Quality really went
Everybody's
down.
starting to know you now. They're
Yeah.
thinking, well, he's not that great no more.
Maybe we don't want to send that vote anymore.
Stop answering
Yeah, and you know how that politics gets too. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings by the same monster dude getting it every year.
but
But that's more than anything.
but to be in the running for that for 2 years in a row and get down to being a finalist, that's great. So, but guys, welcome to the show. What we'll do is we'll start and we can go. You normally just go down the line as we answer the questions, everything. But tell us about yourself, who you are. So, who's listening on the radio or on the podcast? I'm sorry, there's no radio. Listen to the podcast. Your voice to your name and everything. How long you've been in the training business, and then how did you and why did you get into training? So.
Yep. So Coach Colin Lambert, this will be year 4 coaching at the high school, still working with the secondary there. I've been doing the personal training for coming up on 2 years now. I did IT work for 9 years, got laid off one summer, decided it was probably time to look into doing something new. Met Austin in college, playing football together there at Tennessee Tech. Been really close friends, best friends ever since probably. He might disagree with that at times, but we got to chatting one day and
Don't
said
sign me
something.
up for that.
Said something about
we do that.
coming and training at the gym with him, and it actually just kind of happened to fall into place and work out. So for the first time in about 10 years in my life, I had to try to sit back down behind a computer with a book and learn how to study again, and went through all that, passed my certification test, started in December, and it's been all downhill after that. Really enjoy it. It's nice to get up and do something you love every single morning.
So you got into it just because you got laid off, you needed a change of venue.
Yep, I was done with the IT stuff. I was like, we're at a point where we can kind of make some changes. Like, I want to do something I actually get up and enjoy and feel like make something of a difference in the world. You do that behind the computer for those big corporations day in and day out with, the Southwest, American Expresses, all that. And, it's not changing anything. It's not doing anybody any good. It's not making anything better. It's like, I want to do something I feel like has some purpose behind it, and it's going to make a difference in the world there a little bit, hopefully. So fingers crossed, I feel like that's what I'm doing now and something I'm passionate about and feel like I can make a difference with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, my name's Austin Nelson, for those that may not know. I am the owner of Freedom Fitness 615. Started that in 2021, but my story starts way before that. So I got into the fitness industry pretty much through sports. Was kind of a short, fat kid, had asthma, didn't really enjoy going out and getting my butt whooped all the time. So I was like, I need to make a change. And that started about 7th grade for me. I started going out, doing different camps, starting to meet with different people that actually did personal training. I went to the D1 facilities down in Franklin, Tennessee, kind of just saw that there was a different piece to the entire thing. Started really taking that as my own, helping out a lot of my friends, teammates, anybody that just wanted to get better at that point and continue to just work through it. Unfortunately, through high school, I dealt with a lot of injuries. So I actually got to see a lot of the physical therapy side of what the health industry has to offer too. So I thought, hey, I could probably be a pretty good
Personal trainer.
therapist, personal trainer, a little bit of everything, right? So that's kind of where my journey began when I went to Tennessee Tech. Didn't play my senior year of high school because of an ACL surgery. Whenever I went through that process, though, I did actually do a little internship with a physical therapist. Realized you're not working with athletes on a daily basis. So I was like, maybe that's not exactly what I want. So played a little bit of college football, got my education in exercise science, thought that I might want to be a strength and conditioning coach for a college NFL team, something like that. Had a really awesome experience getting to intern with our strength coach at Tennessee Tech and realized that you're going to be spending a long time at the bottom of the totem pole until you work your way up. good chance that you don't get to keep your job. If you're there, the coach is not doing a great job, guess what? You're gone too.
Yep.
So I need a little bit something more stable.
What?
Whenever-
Sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt you. Who was your strength coach or your trainer there at Tech when you was
Casey
there?
Kramer,
Now which one was it that was the CrossFit champion?
Matt Hewitt. He's
Okay.
the current strength coach now.
Okay.
So
Dan was there too with
Yeah.
Hewitt. So Dan Bailey, that's done
Bailey is the one I think
Yeah.
I'm
and then
thinking of.
Rich Froning came up to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
We'd see him out on the track while we're at practice.
I know
was
there's
like that.
several
Huge.
CrossFit ladies champions because my daughter,
Mhm.
who's a massage therapist, also did some work
Oh,
on
cool.
them. Can't say who, but so they used to come up there. Cookville is a hot spot for
Oh, yeah.
CrossFit
Yes, it
people.
is.
If you got into, I know ESPN did a lot of CrossFit stuff, and you don't see it as much now.
Yeah.
But there for a couple of years, that's what they always showed. But I knew one of the CrossFit champions, the males, was also a strength coach there at Tech for
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah, I definitely had many, but bad and good times with those coaches. Don't get me wrong, but they taught me a lot. Definitely got that opportunity, seeing behind the scenes during that internship, to let me realize that, like, you're going to be putting a lot of hours in, but there's a deep desire and care for your athletes and the people you're working with. Fast forward, I graduated, realized after I tried to get a couple of spots in a small internship job somewhere else that there's not a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
The CSCS certification is one of the highest held standards in this industry now, but it's not being recognized as that just yet. It's starting to be better in the previous years, but that's just something that I just took on myself. Like, I wanted that because that's what I thought I needed.
Right.
So graduated, had the opportunity to move back to my hometown in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I went to Station Camp High School, graduated a year after calling from Portland. Then I started a little bit of private training in a private facility just in Hendersonville. I trained with this guy whenever I was in high school, gave him my first opportunities. It was at Personal Health and Fitness. His name is Jeff Holt. Spent 5.5 years there. Then I met a guy named Ryan Johns who ended up opening a gym here in Portland, Tennessee. He's a Portland native. Started out a little strength and conditioning, same certification I had, same dream I had. Got to know him, got to coach some classes with him, and then he was at a standpoint in his life that he was just ready to move on. Hence, I stepped in, changed everything to Freedom Fitness 615, and that's how I got here today. Since then, we've been running, growing, have added more trainers. Colin joked about us, being best friends, but we weren't at each other's wedding, so I guess that's pretty proof enough, right?
Close.
Yeah, gotta be something. But he was there from day one. He's kind of seen all the growth, the struggles, the things that I've had to go through in order to grow this to be. Yeah. Turf, I don't recommend installing by yourself, by the way. Not a fun time. But we've had that amazing community feel here in Portland. I've been very blessed and thankful for every member that has just welcomed me with open arms. We've actually been voted 6 years in a row now for our gym to be as finalists as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah.
What's one thing in your all's mind is misunderstood about fitness? We'll start with you.
Misunderstood. I think my go-to is going to always be people want to come in and, it's one of the big topics. It's, lose weight. I want to lose weight. I want to do this, that, and the other, but I don't want to get too bulky. It takes a lot more effort than a lot of people realize to put on a lot of size and get that true bulk look and everything. But everybody else thinks, well, lose weight. Let's, treadmill, elliptical, bike, all this other. And all the studies and stuff now are just going away from a lot of the cardio stuff for that. It's got its place, it's got its benefits. But if you want to lose weight, being able to take that fat that you're burning off and replace it with muscle as you go, so the scale may not change, but your body composition changes, is doing more of the strength training stuff to lose the weight. Again, everybody wants to, come in and get all the cardio machines, this, that, and the other, and then wonder why their body's not changing as much, where you replace that with strength training for about an hour a day, some pretty high intensity stuff with that. You start stacking the muscle on top as you're losing the fat. If you don't have one of those composition scales, it can be challenging at times because that number might even go up. So you think you're not losing that weight, but replacing that fat with the muscle is still better than just losing the weight in general. So using the strength training to lose the weight, I think, is the biggest one.
Kind of where the before and after pictures will help.
Yeah.
Because that's
Before and
when you're
after
going to see
pictures
it.
are great. Yeah, measurement.
Um,
You can get the little composition scales off Amazon. We got one at the house. It's about $50. It's pretty accurate. Tells you your body fat, breaks down your lean muscle and stuff with that when you get on it. Sends the electromagnetic through the bottom of your foot there, gets your composition readings from that, and it gives you an idea and helps you stay really accountable with it.
I know it also dealing with young guys playing football and everything, coach. You'll see a kid come in as a 9th, 10th grader, and you're like, he's going to be okay. You know, you got parents going, well, what can we do? He's going to be okay because he's still got that baby fat.
Yep.
And then they make that transition normally between their junior and senior year. They come back to senior year and like, man, what happened to him? You know, he slimmed up, he's got big and everything. Nothing's happened. It's just, they just move things around.
Yeah.
And they're, you know,
Well,
and that's
puberty
where
hits late
yes.
for boys a lot of times. You get that, maybe hit a growth spurt in there or something, and yeah, you see kids come back, you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way that's who that was.
Yeah.
I saw you 3 years ago. There's no way.
Austin, what about you? What's the one thing that's kind of misunderstood that people have?
I think the biggest trend I've seen now is there's so many people online that are just showing crazy workouts or different challenges or things that you see somebody who looks good and you're like, oh, I've got to do exactly their workout. They didn't get that way by doing the workout they're showing you, and I guarantee if you try, you're probably going to injure yourself. So where we stand in as trainers, we help a lot with the technique, the focus, the programming, because it may not look very special, so to say, if you videotaped one of our workouts with people. Sure, maybe there might be one funner thing in there or not, but most of the time it's the basics. It's what builds the main components for building overall good strength, conditioning, and overall wellness. So I think that's probably a big misconception. And even picking back off of what Colin was saying, a lot of people on the nutrition side just truly undereat. A lot of times in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, we were told eat less, move more. All calories are made the same, all this and that and the other. Well, if we eat the exact same diet, we have the same calories, same macros, but yours is made of pizza and mine's made of beef, it's going to be a little bit different in how your composition looks. How all that plays together is really what we encompass and what we do. We don't just look at fitness as just a one size fits all. We make sure that we take the entirety of your life, what your work schedule's like, what your sleep and stress levels are, and then we make a plan that works best for you.
Kind of talking philosophy here for the next couple of minutes. What does being healthy really mean to you?
For me, with everything my body has been through, you know, high school athletics, college athletics with football, rugby, and, you know, you always hear the people talking about you treat your body like a temple. I make jokes all the time. I like to kind of treat mine a little bit more like a roller coaster, highs and lows, and see what it's truly capable of before something breaks and we got to go in and repair it type thing. So for me, being truly healthy is being able to be mobile for as long as possible. I have a lot of clients that come in and that's their goal. You know, they're 50s, 60s, and even some of mine are in their 70s. And it's when the grandkids come over, I want to be able to get down on the floor and play and not have to be stuck there for 5 minutes. I want to be able to lift my granddaughter on my shoulders and show her the parade, you know, just being able to move and keep that quality of life. I mean, doing certain things when you're younger, hitting maxes, you know, times on runs, all that, it's awesome and it's great and it's fun, especially when your body can do that. But at the end of the day, everything I do for myself, do for my clients is building that foundation for the future. Being able to move, being able to do things when you're 70, not being able to, or having to be stuck in a wheelchair or on the couch or in a hospital bed in a nursing home that early in age, having that quality of life the older you get so that it doesn't feel like that all ends too early.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I completely agree on all that, but I would even go as far as to say it's just expanding what you think you're capable of. A lot of people will step in that door and they say, I've had clients that had a knee surgery and they're like, I'll never squat. I'm sorry, I just have to hold on to something every time. It's like,
Challenge accepted.
I'm going to prove you wrong, and that is my mission from here on. And it could be somebody who's come in, he's got a 400-pound bench press, and I'm like, I bet you could do 450. So it doesn't matter what level you start at, there's always a way to expand yourself outside your comfort zone. If you're not doing that and challenging yourself on a daily basis, you're not going to grow at any point, no matter if that's through your physicality, through your mental health, through your nutritional wealth, and even just making sure that on a daily basis you have a routine that you feel like you're comfortable with and you're like, okay, now let's do something hard today so that way I know I can always push it a little bit further. That's why a lot of people enjoy what we do. They'll come into our class and they're like, well, there's no way I can get that workout. Then they'll accomplish it and they're like, I can take on anything today.
Yeah.
So I just think that expanding on top of obviously mobility, just overall strength and health, so that way you don't have injuries is the number one important thing. But also, don't just get complacent. Complacency is no place for growth. So stretch your horizons, see what you can do, and just keep pushing yourself a little harder each day.
What, in your opinion, should beginners focus on? Weight loss, strength, or consistency first?
Definitely going to go with consistency on that. Just getting into a habit and a routine. Because if you go either one of those two without the other there, and you go too gung ho and hardcore on one, it's easy to fall off that wagon, and you just end up in that cycle where you're, losing those 5 or 10 pounds. You get off of it, you're right back where you started. You lose those 5 or 10. It's just that continuous back and forth cycle. So starting that consistency, especially if you don't have an idea of what you're really doing, never done it before, coming to the gym, getting with one of us or anybody else that's certified, as long as they understand what they're doing, making sure you're doing everything correctly and protected, but then just getting consistently, making that a habit of being in your routine, not coming up with excuses every day, setting aside that time like we do the class times there. So 6 to 7 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, that's my workout time. Gives me time to go home, shower, get to work, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever that is. Just making sure you find that time to carve that into your schedule at a point where you can't constantly come up with some type of excuse to miss.
Absolutely. Our slogan at Freedom Fitness is consistency over
I
perfection.
saved that for you.
I know. I figured you would. You could have stolen it. It'd been completely fine. But I would even go as far as to say, just focus on strength on top of that. Too many people join a gym membership, low barrier offers, which it's awesome that there's so many opportunities to be able to get into a gym or go to a home gym if you've started to get things for yourself, or even just go to the park. It doesn't matter, but if you just go out and you do a consistent walk every day, and let's just say you do 20 minutes every day and you don't change that at all, you're not going to make much of a difference, especially if you're not changing the other habits. If you start adding in strength training is now proven, and studies have been coming out that it's more beneficial for your long-term health, your bone density, your overall just enthusiasm throughout the day, because your endorphin release that you get from it, it's going to continue to help you get stronger. And that could look like 10 squats this week for 3 days in a row. Then you go up to 15 squats, 20 squats, and then you start adding in other exercises. But that is where programming really comes in. So if you're not consistent enough to even make those first 3 days of that first week, it's not going to matter anyways. So consistency always comes first, then we go to strength, and then we work on our conditioning after that.
We'll ask this one to Austin first so he can get a jump on
Good.
everything.
Give me time to process for
Yeah, right.
What is, how do you keep people motivated with excitement when the excitement wears off? When they hit that plateau, they don't get to see on the scale, the scale's going down, the weights are going up. We always hit that plateau. And we all know it as athletes. You hit the plateau somewhere, either in the weights, or you're not getting faster, you're not getting skin, or you're not losing weight, or you're not gaining weight if that's what you're trying to do. You hit a plateau.
Yep.
What do you do to sit there and to motivate them to sit there, and when they start, or you just come in and have a bad day and you just don't, you got up and you don't want to do it, but you're there. So
Absolutely.
that's the biggest win right there. You did make it in.
Yeah.
So then it's just from there on out. But how many times do people come in and just go, I'm not doing this today?
Every day. Every day. That's why I am a big fan and component of posting a lot of just informational videos. We have quotes everywhere up on our walls. I do a new quote at the front door every single week. I've got a big sign that says discipline equals freedom. So when motivation runs out, that's where discipline has to kick in. Another quote I literally have on the board this week is, the only workout you're going to regret is the one that you didn't do. So even if you're not feeling well, we really try to just encourage people to just show up and at least go through the motions. Can't tell you how many times I've seen where even myself, I'm not feeling it when I start. I'm like, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes. I'm going to start moving, start warming up. And generally those are the days that I have the best workouts anyways. Everybody runs on a 0 to 100 scale. I tell everybody that if I just looked at it as you have 100 workouts in a year, you're maybe going to have 10 of those that are going to be the best workouts you've ever had. You're going to feel great. 80 of those, you're going to be in that in-between, in that yellow phase. And about 10 of them, you're probably going to be in the red. But if you don't show up, you're already getting less improvement, less consistency, and you're not going to be able to move forward with the goals that you have set for yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like when I do my bike rides and stuff after a day of work, I'm going, all I want is
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what I want. A beer, okay?
Yeah,
It's not a good
right,
thought.
for
But
sure.
but I don't feel good, right? It's like I'm like that, and then I make myself get out and go do my
Mhm.
cardio. When I get done, dude, I just like I'm kicking myself like, why did I even fight
That
it?
endorphin rush
Right?
is-
It's just unbelievable the
First
mood
10 minutes
swing.
always sucks.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And it's just a mind. I don't know why your mind messes with you.
For sure. And I
But
also love
when
to
you're
say, where's
done,
the
you
sun?
feel just. When I get done, I'll come home and start mowing the grass until dark time and stuff. Before that, I wasn't gonna do anything but
Yeah.
just sit there and veg.
Mhm.
And it's just weird if you just kick yourself to get going.
Yeah.
It all of a sudden just kicks in. It's bizarre.
I'll even add a little to that is if you have a list that's stacked, like let's say you have a planner or you're at work and you're like, I'm just overwhelmed with how much I have on that list. It's really surprising the mentality of if I just look over to the right and do a couple of small things that are easy tasks that I get quick, easy wins,
Get them out of the way.
I'll fly through
Yeah.
that list instead.
Colin, what do you do to motivate?
Burpees. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, like you said, it's the only work you're gonna regret is the one you don't do. So that's the one good thing about what we do. You know, we've got our schedules with clients and stuff, so we've got sessions lined up throughout the day and everything. So you've got that big accountability factor there. So you know, you go to bed Monday night, you feel great. You've got a 7 a.m. appointment with one of us the next morning. You get up, you're doing whatever in the house to get ready. You don't feel that great. Well, if you were just going to an open gym somewhere or something, it's really easy to talk yourself out of that. But you've got that appointment, you got that accountability. Well, it's already on the schedule, got to show up. So a lot of times, you know, we start talking when a client comes in. If I'm starting to get that vibe from them or they say something, try to get them a little bit distracted, get their mind off things. Like you said, you just get them started moving. And once you start moving, you can slowly start progressing through it. And a lot of times, once you can kind of get their mind off whatever it is that's got them down, start getting some blood flowing through the body and stuff like that, everything seems to pick up a little bit. So once you can kind of get that, you can start easing into it. Next thing you know, they're doing what they're normally doing on bench or squat that day, and you can kind of see that look in their eyes, like they're surprised, like, oh, hey, I am able to do this. I am. You're not going to feel great every time you come in for a workout, but then there are going to be days like we had the volleyball girls yesterday. They've had a really rough week with camp and stuff, so we got them in, knocked the weights down a little bit, got them moving, did some blood flow. He did a really nice 15-minute yoga session with them at the end, stretched them out really good with the bands, let everybody relax a little bit, took care of their bodies, and sometimes that's exactly the workout you need right there. You know, you're down on sleep. If you're going through a max program, sleep's a big component of that. If you don't have that sleep, it's going to be really hard to hit those numbers that you really need to hit. So, you know, change that workout a little bit. Instead of going heavy twos on bench that day, hit some negatives, get some pause work, something like that. Being able to throw those variables into the workout to still get good benefit and good work out of it, but it doesn't always necessarily have to be like, no, this is what we had on the schedule today. This has to be what's done. It's
Schedule
okay.
can vary. You don't have to
Yes.
be
Being
so
able to be
rigid and
adjustable.
ritual and everything. What habits create the biggest long-term results that did you feel?
So I'm gonna let you go first on that one. You got the paint on
You're
there.
good, man. So when it comes down to habits, I think just what you can absolutely do consistently on a daily basis. I mean, we're gonna obviously preach consistency over everything because if I try to start, let's just go down the nutrition route. If I try to give you exact amount of calories, protein, carbs, fats that you need to eat on a daily basis, and let's say it's a number like 3,000 calories, and you've consistently only been eating about 1,500 calories, kind of piggybacking off of people eat too little these days. There is no way I'm going to be able to get somebody on the first day to jump all the way up to that 3,000 calories. So if I don't set some kind of standard to just build it up slowly from there, it is not going to be something that sustainably can happen. So to build a habit, you have to make sure that it's something that you can consistently do for 21 to 28 days. That's what the science says. I don't know exactly what times that actually falls into, but most people that feel like they've never reached the goal that they've set for themselves, they've never given it a month of consistency. Every single day they do it without cheating. If you start doing that, and that's why we try to say just show up to the gym. If you can get your workouts in, then we can slowly progress into actually getting the nutrition side in. If you can't get either of those done, maybe we work on a morning routine that you can consistently do every single day. So if we can start that constantly, that one little habit can form multiple habits that you continue to keep throughout the rest of your life.
What's one fitness myth you'd love to eliminate?
Well, we kind of already popped onto that one, but cardio is not everything.
Yeah, that's always my go-to on that
That's
one.
the number one. And the other one that I pretty much preach to every single client is that you don't always have to come in and give 100% on every single workout. You want to mentally always go in like you want to, but as long as you're showing up and you're getting it in and you're stacking those days, that's what's more important. Too many people say, oh, well, I have an hour to work out today, but also have this other list of things. I'm not going to do anything today instead. If you would have just done 15 to 20 minutes of workout that day instead, that would have been more beneficial than you doing nothing and stacking more anxiety and stress on your life. So that other piece to that is just, it doesn't matter how much time you have or think you don't have. It's always better to do something instead of do nothing.
I think one thing you guys are talking a lot about too that a lot of people take for granted, and I did because like 14 years ago I had quadruple bypass, and then they tell you don't fats and all that kind of stuff. So what do you eat, man? It's carbs is what you eat if you're not supposed to eat proteins and all that. That was a huge mistake.
Right.
Doctor was wrong. I know he probably gets paid 100,000 times more than I do a year, but he was absolutely wrong. I mean, just one day I woke up and me and my wife talked, said, you know, I feel like crap
Yeah.
because I'm keeping my calories like they need to be, but they're all carb type of calories because they don't want you to eat meat and they don't want you because you eat
Right.
cholesterol, and
Right.
we can get in a whole show about cholesterol.
Mhm.
But anyway, but
We won't do cholesterol, but we're getting, it's good. This is get ready to lead into my next question.
because I think cholesterol is overrated.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's naturally formed in your body,
For sure.
so I think they missed the mark on that's what actually causes you to clog up. It's
Yeah.
not doing workouts, and it doesn't have to be strenuous work. It's got to get up off your rear end and do something,
Mhm.
and then try to eat okay, but don't give out your proteins. But if you go to the classes that I had to go through, they steer you away from proteins, which was huge. The last year I've been back on proteins, and I felt so much better. It's unbelievable. It's like it was clouding your brain up,
Yeah.
not having the protein. So when you guys talk about nutrition, that's so important for everyday life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just working out, but it's everything.
And even going into that's another big fad or myth of the industry is like too many people think that one diet is the only thing I need to keep with, right? I've got multiple clients on different things because their blood works are different.
Totally different.
It's something that, I'm not going to go to the deep dive end of, but like there's so many different peptides that are coming out, so many different, obviously a lot of people want to get on weight loss drugs now because it's the easy way. However, I'm not completely against them when they're done correctly.
Right.
When you still have exercise as the forefront, you still make sure you get enough protein in so you don't lose muscle, but you're losing the body fat. And also, too many times I've gone to the doctor too, and they look at me and they say, well, your chart says you're obese. And I was like,
Same.
yeah, I've been obese since I was 5 years old.
Yep.
However, your weight distribution from your body composition is a completely different thing. A lot of times the doctors that have seen me are not in better shape than I am.
Right.
So I will take what they say, and obviously they know a lot more about the blood work and things that may continue to help with that, but they don't take the full picture in all the time.
Right.
Not unless you have somebody that's really a good quality care physician that knows you on a daily basis, right?
The guy who my wife turned me on to get a Mo cut off actually is smarter than my normal doctor. We sit there and talk about what we're eating and all that. And I'm going, dude, why don't you be my normal doctor? He said, I don't have that license. I've got this other one. But,
Exactly.
he's like you. It's like he was talking about cut all this crap out they told you. Just do this and I guarantee you. And but it's funny but I think just coming in and learning that from you guys is huge.
Yep.
That'll change people's lives so greatly. It's unbelievable.
Well, that was the next question was,
I didn't mean to take.
no, you're good because you just sit there and segued into it. Yeah. How important is nutrition compared to exercise? I think that's the one thing that had to catch up. Everybody knew how to lift weights.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that these exercises would sit there and do certain things, would build muscles. You can do certain exercises to build certain types of muscles and hit certain targets and everything. It's the nutrition part that everybody had their own ideas about. And we're still learning about that. And that's just kind of where, and then like you said, I understand about, you talked about the peptides and the shots and everybody doing the quick weight loss and everything. Those are good for health issues that people have.
Absolutely.
If you are 500-600 pounds and you've got to lose some weight or whatever, that's to me, that's what that's for.
It's a
So
tool.
it's
It's
even
not
good
just
if you're
the
50
answer.
pounds over
Right.
20.
It's an
But when
aid.
you're 120 pounds
Get active
and you
too.
got money and you can take these shots just because you want to lose some weight and everything, that is wrong.
Yes.
But,
you know.
yeah, and you got to get active.
And,
period.
and
If
yeah.
you're- if you're not doing any activity, you're wrong.
But how the
Period.
nutrition now works with everything, and I think is what everybody's now all of a sudden starting to understand, and because it wasn't that way back. Well, you're still too young. You both. It was not that way when we were in high
It's
school.
not how
and
I feel when I
everything.
get out of bed in the morning. But I'll take it.
Our joints is up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, everybody's coming out now. You can't out train a bad diet, and it doesn't matter if that's the strength side where you're trying to increase numbers and maxes. If you're not hitting protein goals and stuff like that throughout a day, those numbers aren't going to go up no matter how much you try to do heavy sets of 1 or heavy sets of 2 or anything. And it's the same if you're trying to lose weight. If you're still going to, I love Portland Pizza Pub, but if you're going there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night every week, you're probably not going to
Or
lose
doing
weight
it
throughout the week, no
consistently
matter
for
what you're doing. It's finding that balance with all of it. Everything's got its place. You just got to learn how to make sure you get the balance with it. And nutrition
little
is
things,
everything when it comes to
yeah.
that.
Like the one thing I swore off 14 years ago, sodas. I don't drink sodas,
Yeah.
period. Not at all. I still drink a beer every now and then,
Right.
but I don't. And I
Well,
have
if you
my
read
own
it,
cup of
one beer a
coffee.
day is supposed to be good for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know about 12, but
Well,
I'll
at
tell you-
12, you'll have to come pick me up and drag me to where I'm going.
Well, I'll give you all a fun little fact that I learned in college. You can have those alcoholic beverages as long as you're not consuming extra food afterwards. So when you consume alcohol, your body says, freeze, I'm going to process all this out before I try to take in any of the nutrients that I just had. So that nice greasy burger that you want to have after you've had a few too many,
Well, and that's
the mini burger.
that's when it feels good.
Yeah.
But your body is going to hold on to that and put that away into fat storages.
Do they still
before
have
it's
that up there
ever
when you
going
was
to
there?
process it.
Mini burger.
Uh,
It was right there underneath. It was right there
I believe they did.
where that Mexican restaurant was. It was right across the street. Where that train trestle would go over.
I think it was rated like one of the top burgers.
It was called Mini Burger.
It's
It's just
either,
like a White
it was
Castle
either a
Crystal.
Pancake House or a liquor
Everything.
store when we
So
were
that's
back
my
then.
thing back in the early '90s when I was at Tech. It was you go party and everybody would head to the Mini Burger and get those the burgers. It was just a Crystal. Is all it was. A
We
White
go to
Castle
Big O
Crystal.
Donuts.
So
Yeah, I was
did
gonna say,
it? That's
We're
been
young
there
enough for
forever.
Taco Bell. Was the point of that, yeah.
So let's kind of change into the working with the youth, because that's kind of one reason why we brought you on is because of what y'all have been doing the last couple of years with the youth here, and that's what this show is about is recognizing the youth and everything that we have here. Why is youth fitness so important today, in y'all's opinion?
I mean, that's everything for the future. If, the more AI and technology and that comes out, you're just seeing more and more kids. God, this is going to sound really old. Not getting outside and doing anything. They're sitting inside all day. And if you can't instill those good habits, the fitness, the exercise, or even just the hard work side that comes along with it, that's going to be everything. That's going to be who's running the world when, me and Austin get older and stuff like that. It's going to be those younger kids are going to be the ones that are working and everything. I like to use the example from the Wall-E cartoon movie they come out with years ago where everybody's in those hover around little things. Nobody even gets up, not capable of walking. And, that's what I joke around with a lot of clients. That's what the future's coming to if we don't make changes. So being able to get them and teach them how to exercise correctly, properly, safely, nutrition, how to correctly eat and everything, the more bioengineered and lab grown all of this food gets and everything else, being able to understand the differences and all that's going to be quality of life for them as they start getting older, and the difference between being able to live to 40 or 50 or 70, 80.
Well, it's I don't want to sit there and technology is great,
Yeah.
but we're getting to the point where we want to be so lazy that you can tell Alexis or whoever you got to turn the lights off, turn the lights on, turn the TV, turn it off. You can't even get up to turn the light switch on and off anymore.
Yep.
Well, I'm not lazy when I do that, but she can put it at certain level, right? Normally on off, or you
Yeah.
get those tri-light. but she can go 10% or 70%. Don't get on to her about this, all right? I've got one for dinner time because I eat on my couch. I'm sorry.
Dim that light.
It's just me and my wife at home. We don't
light
have
a
to have
candle?
Yeah, dinner time. She puts the lights on this, and we're done eating. TV time. That's not lazy. I can't never get my adjustments to that, so don't pick on her. I gave her a hard time the other day though because I told her dinner
Gave
time.
her a hard
Yeah.
time. Did you have a
No, I
heart
said
to heart
dinner
conversation
time,
with
and
her?
she was giving me what I wanted for dinner.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm never going to ask you what I want for dinner. If you hear the word dinner from me, it's just to turn the lights to a certain level. And she said, got it.
Don't get me in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even to piggyback on that, it's not just the laziness, it's the fact that a lot of youth today doesn't have a lot of responsibilities. Too many times, and I'm in the community decent amount, but not enough to know about how much kids are actually being encouraged to go and play some kind of sport. Doesn't matter what it is, just something to be physically active. I know that's starting to become a thing where it's not happening as much.
Mow the
I know.
grass.
Exactly.
Everybody's got zero turn, and your yard's bigger than this size right here.
Yeah.
Get out and
My
mow
daughter
the
push
thing.
mows the ditch, man. She loves it. It's
Hey,
great.
fantastic. It's
Until
like-
DCS gets called.
Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when he gets here.
Well, even physical education in schools. I mean,
Right, that's gone.
there's such a level. I had a buddy of mine that we were in college, and he had a TA job where he was trying to make people just walk. And then one day he was like, "Oh, let's just go play with the basketball team." One woman had said no, and he couldn't do anything about it because it was just that's what their choice was. And it wasn't on him, it wasn't on her. It's how she was growing out of responsibilities. When I was young growing up, I know there was a lot of issues with just trying to find places where I could go and train. I would sometimes go to a park on a night and just go run or do drills or
Right.
something like that. And I wanted to, with Freedom Fitness, have a place where kids could have a low barrier option to be able to get in and do those types of things. So
That's a
we
good
offer
thing,
those
and
youth
you can teach
classes.
them what to do.
Yeah,
And have that
Sometimes you just go
supervision.
do it and not really know what you're doing and
absolutely.
not doing, but you guys, and what I like I'm gonna keep bringing it up, not just that, but you talk about nutrition.
Mhm.
The older people, it's good for kids too, nutrition. Of course, a lot of time it's,
Of course.
and kids are weird because sometimes at a certain age, maybe McDonald's isn't so bad for a 16 and 15-year-old, but when you're a 45 and 50-year-old, you need to start thinking about McDonald's isn't such a good deal.
Mhm.
But that's what I'm so impressed with you guys is you're not just coming in, let's see if we can bulk up and you're a lifestyle change.
Yes.
And I think that's the key is
Yeah.
you're offering a lifestyle change.
And if I can teach that to you when you're 12 years old,
Set for
your
life.
entire life is going to change. The habits we build that carry over into our adulthood are generally formed between the ages of 8 and 15.
Yeah.
So if you can start to get ahead of that with sports, with discipline, with consistency, saying, okay, well, I don't want to get up and go to football practice at 7 a.m., but I have to. I have a responsibility, not just to myself, but my teammates. That forces me to get out there. So I encourage parents to just force the kids to show up to a youth class. Go out and exercise with them. Do a little healthy meal. at
That
least
ain't gonna
once a
happen though.
day.
You gotta bring them to you.
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
That is the hard
That's what's gotten bad, and I don't want to throw parents under the bus,
No.
but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Parents have just they've gotten to the thing they don't want. How many parents play catch with their kids anymore? No, I'm gonna take them and pay $30 for a half hour and let you play catch.
Well, I think being able to watch your parents do things like fitness, if it's coming to a class and going to the gym as you're a kid and you see that and that's what you're growing up with, that's one of me and
Yeah,
Becky.
it's a
I mean,
habit
me and
you
Becky
pick up.
met in a gym, so that's literally where I met my wife was at a gym here in
Right.
Portland, and that's our whole relationship and everything's come from that. And that's one thing we talk about all the time is instilling that in the kids, watching us. I mean, even at the house, we've got a punching bag at the house. We do workouts at home together. We'll go out and run the road, run the driveway,
See,
take the
that's
dogs
so key.
runs. So they're
Parents should
growing
start
up
doing
seeing
stuff like
that,
that.
and hopefully that instills that in them.
That goes.
Even for a walk at Richland as a family.
Yeah.
When I see a family walking over Richland,
Yeah.
I get all pumped up, but it just doesn't
We get
happen
the
as
stroller
much
out,
as
we
it
walk
used
around
to.
the cow pastures, we see the cows, we've
Yeah.
got wild blackberry bushes down there, pick those, and it comes to balance. So we might go do that walk, break a sweat and everything, pick the blackberries, and then Becky likes to come in and make a blackberry cobbler out of it. It's balance.
That's right.
Invite me when the
Well, that's
cobbler
just-
starts.
Oh,
that's
it
just
is
like-
good.
You got parents who have that
We should
list
ask
of
them to bring
things.
us a cobbler, golly.
You have parents that have trying to make it into in their industry that they're in. Their hours are not 8 hours no more. Hardly anybody works 8 hours anymore. It's 10 to 12 hours. You know, And then you sit there and have to come home and be a parent, and that's part of it. I understand you. That's the choice you took when you decided to have a kid or children and everything. But the jobs are requesting the parents to be more gone away from the family life, and you wonder why family life is not great anymore the way it used to be, because you don't have the hours that you did. And then you try to find time, and that's where you sit there and go, hey, come to the gym with me, and we can go do this. Or you got to find, or let's go outside and play catch. Nobody wants to go outside and play catch. You just had 12 hours. Your brain is mush.
Right.
Okay, not physically, but your brain is mush just because of everything you had to deal with today. And you're trying to make that money so you can have the nice house, to have the nice cars, to go sit there and go on these vacations that you want and everything. But I think everybody's forgetting the family part of it and the kids, youth part of it. And these kids don't know anything except to sit there, give commands to, Siri or whoever.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's
that's
so
whatever
easy
you
to
got.
hand that iPad over
Yes.
when you get home from those days.
How many
Yeah,
kids
can
you
have
sit
your
there and
decompress
watch? You go
moment.
to a ballpark and you've got kids, because they're not screaming and yelling, they're happy, but they're on a phone at 3 years old. Man, they can operate a phone more than an older person can. They can swipe left and right, and they can play these games. And the only time you hear them gripe is if it ain't working right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you know.
it doesn't matter how
But,
tired you are, you've got to give. It's like one of my closest friends and coach, Aaron Whitten, just had a baby. Shout out to Ashley. Audrey Whitten. And I told Aaron, I said, the most important things, parents, period, and it's not all this money and all that, is let them know every night when they go to bed, they need to know you love them. Period. It doesn't mean you're always going to get along and you're always happy with them, but they got to know you love them. And two is, your time is your most precious gift, not your money, not how much money you got to buy. It's your time, because when they get older and they look back, the time is what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember all the crap you bought them, all that. So they're going to remember the things you did together, even the times you fix something and break it and you swear a little bit. They're going to remember, Dad, remember that time we were trying to fix this thing and it got sideways on you? And he said, but we figured it out, didn't we? But that's what they remember. It's totally amazing. People are losing track of that stuff, is your time with your kids.
Getting back into Freedom Fitness, what's the youngest that y'all will work with there at Freedom Fitness?
Yeah, so our youth class is 8 to 13. If your kid is 6 or 7, I'm not going to do the hand gesture all the kids do these days for that. And they're very athletically inclined. They're very athletically inclined and they can keep up with the class. We will allow that. We've got a great youth coach. We run a class Tuesday and Thursday nights from 6:30 to 7:30, and also Saturday morning they should be running right now as well from 9 to 10. Those we always offer. First class is free. I want the kids to come in, see if they enjoy it, see if they can just keep up with it before you do anything from there. After that, we have different discounts and deals. That way we run 10, maybe even $5 every single class. But I know kids, I know schedules. They're not going to be here all the time, so I'm not setting you on a monthly consistent basis. So we just try to do things like that. We'll throw out a little every now and then. We'll throw a full month that's just free for all the kids. It's just depending on that. And we even have just starting this year, opened up a Freedom Fitness Scholarship, where we've got some people that are really just invested in this community and they want to give back. And we have ages from 13 to 18 for kids that can apply for our scholarship. We've got the opportunity to give 5 kids a scholarship for the first quarter of this year. This summer, we've got another 5 that are going through it. And those families, it's not that they can't afford it, but they've got all these other responsibilities as well. So being able to allow their kid to go and do something else like that, it's not always the biggest first necessity, right? So we wanted to just continue to give back and do something like that so we can get even more children just involved and understand that, like, okay, you can be 15, but you're in a class with people that are 40, 50, and 60. They're just as committed to it as you are, and they're all helping each other out. So it's good for a young person to get into a gym space and feel like it's a welcoming community rather than it's a scary place to be.
Overwhelming.
What challenges do you think kids face today than what previous generations did?
I would say the biggest challenge is the availability is so massive now of things that they can do that they get overloaded, and you get into what I like to call paralysis by analysis. I feel like if I want to be the best athlete that I want to be in, whatever our sport it is, I feel like I've got to do all these things because that's what I see on social media. So social media is giving a really not much of a broad view. It's very localized into saying if you're going to be the best, you have to do all this stuff. And that's not the case. Too many kids these days are also being forced into year-round sports. It's not that I don't think that specificity for a sport shouldn't be available for when you're at an older age, but most people that make it to a higher level have some kind of variety in the athleticism that they have. We see a lot of overuse injuries in many different sports because if I'm playing baseball year-round, my elbow, my shoulder is going to stay jacked up. The volleyball girls that we get the opportunity to train with, their shoulders stay a little tight. So we've got to think that maybe I need some other things to balance out what I currently do, whether that's another sport, it's strength and conditioning training, it's just doing yoga on the weekends or something like that. But I think the biggest challenge is there's so much and they don't have a great direction. And the kids that really want it do a whole lot, but sometimes that's to their detriment as well.
Right. That's like baseball. It's got to get shut down.
Yeah.
If you play baseball year round, you're wrong.
Absolutely.
Period.
I think
Period.
that adds a whole nother level of pressure on them too. 'Cause you hear all the time people talking about, with the mentality of kids when they're doing sports now, it's that D1 or bust mentality. Well, 1% of high school athletes get to play college at any level, whether it's NAIA, D2, Division III. I mean, it doesn't matter. Next level is next level. But what he talked about with the social media stuff, you're seeing all this, and then people are able to go through and clip the perfect moments from their workout or their training session or whatever and put it on there. So kids feel like they've got to match that at all times. And that's not always going to be the case. It's not always going to be pretty, but they just get pressure from inside the home, outside the home. I mean, you've been around the kids for the last couple of years of football. I feel like we weren't always the nicest kids, but I feel like kids are just meaner when it comes to a lot of that stuff now. There's a true fear of messing up and it being public because everything ends up on video or whatever it is. Today you screw up at practice, somebody's got a clip of it on
You only learn
Snapchat.
when you mess up.
Yeah, it's posted out there, and everybody has such a fear of messing up that sometimes that hinders them from even putting their full effort and ability into making
That's
an
not
attempt
good.
at something. Yeah, you can't have that. You're not gonna get
You're
the
not-
strides and the gains you want
You're
out of
right.
that. Yeah, and like you said with the year-round sports, you've got to have that time to specialize in what you're doing. Like game reps are great, they're phenomenal, but just a full year of game reps versus a half year of game reps and then a half year of specialized training. Some parents have got to come to that realization, like maybe instead of playing fall ball in this when it's the true off season, get them in the gym, get them speed and conditioning, something like that, and then see what they look at that next school season. And I feel like it's going to be a lot bigger of a difference than it is playing that travel
You
team.
got to absolutely shut the arm down in baseball.
How can, what's your advice to parents to encourage healthy habits without adding pressure to the kids?
Start with yourself. Gotcha.
Lead by example.
Yeah, leading by example. And of course, that doesn't mean you have to completely trash going out to eat with the family or have hamburgers and hot dogs and enjoying good just feast sometimes. But I always try to tell my clients the 80-20 rule. Imagine your entire meals, 80% of them are going to be good, 20% are going to be bad. Count for that time, but don't have two bad meals back to back. I've had too many people over the years that will do great Monday through Friday and then absolutely blow their entire
Shut on the
progress over the
weekend.
weekend. I myself can blow an entire week's of progress in one meal. So I've been
It is
there
impressive.
and done that. Colin's seen it a few times, more than I should probably mention.
For vacations, a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah. And I would even just go far to say is like, just get rid of the bad snacks that are in your house. We have never lived in a better time to have more healthier options that are in the grocery stores. Stay away from those middle aisles. Those have all the processed stuff. I mean, there's maybe one or two that have like good protein bars and stuff, but all your good produce, snacks, things like that are on the outer side. You can just go on Amazon these days and find protein anything. So if you like chips, like I love chips, replace your regular potato chips, or my go-to used to be Flamin' Hot Cheetos, with something that's maybe more of a protein-based chip. You're not going to have as many, but guess what? If you have a real structured meal along with that, that little bit curbs that hunger as well. So I would just try to mainly encourage parents to just take away all the empty calories and give you something that's a little bit more nutritious.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for a kid to take that seriously if you're sitting there holding a Dr. Pepper in one hand and a Snickers in the other, and you're telling them, maybe they need carrot sticks for snack today or
Yeah.
something else. So it's that lead by example part, what he mentioned with the the protein snack stuff now, you know, you got to be wary of some of that because they get real willy nilly with throwing the term protein on a package or something. So, you know, normally if it's 3 grams of protein a serving, they'll put protein on big bold letters on it and they go from 3 to 4. And it's still a little bit better, but not everything
And
that's
some of the
advertised
stuff
like
they,
that's
we,
going to be.
yeah,
with
the
it.
other stuff in it
Yeah.
is not
What is
good.
it? Is it they call it the rule of 10 or the rule of 0, where you take the number of calories, you add a 0 on it, and if the protein number is bigger than that, then it's considered a good protein source. Like if you have 120 calories and bar and it's got over 12 grams of protein, then that's considered a good protein source. Where you see a lot of the protein bars now are candy bars that they just slap protein on because instead of 7, it's got 10 grams in it, but it's still 240 calories. So if you do that rule of 10 on that, it
You
doesn't
see
come out
some
that way.
yogurts like that where
Yeah.
that's more protein.
Exactly.
You go, oh my God, but then you flip it over and look at the label and you go, I'm not sure it's worth all this. This
Yeah.
one's got nothing bad in
$4
it at
more
all,
dollars
but it's
for a
4
tub, though.
protein, and
Yeah.
this one's got 7, but it's got all the more calories, more everything. You're going, I don't think it's worth the extra.
Well, and even FDA regulations, you can be allowed to be up to 20% wrong in your labels and still sell your products. So that's not always
That's
the best
alarming, by
option.
the way.
That's
I didn't know
alarming.
that.
Yeah, and if you can't read or understand what the words are that are in the ingredients list, probably stay away from it. Impossible burgers, probably don't eat those because there's nothing that's actually nutritious that's being made into being meat. Manufactured stuff is never the best option. You're probably going to know that because you'll be in the bathroom 10 minutes after you consume it.
Well, see, that's where you get the misinformation. Stay away from red meat, blah, blah, blah. Do this
Yeah.
processed stuff, but that's wrong. You know what I mean? You're better off eating a really, I don't remember 85 cut. We do a high cut, but
Yeah.
I'm better off eating that than this processed thing that makes you think it's low
Of
calories,
course.
all this other stuff. It's wrong. It's just absolutely 100% wrong.
What advice would you give youth who lack confidence? Like if you got somebody who, you can see when they come in, they're shy. They really don't want to do nothing. You can tell that maybe mom and dad made them come, or show up and everything.
Yeah.
How do you sit there and give them confidence? How do you sit there and get them to where they start?
Give it a chance. Don't show up, give it a try, and don't give up on it. I mean, you see people all the time that, make it to the next level in college or whatever it is, but, they may not have been a very good youth or middle school athlete or anything like that. Everything takes time. Everybody develops at their own pace and their own schedule. You might be a late bloomer compared to some. You might be an early bloomer compared to some. Show up, give everything an opportunity. If you screw up and mess up once or it doesn't go great in one class, don't make that the end of it right there. Keep showing up, keep doing it, keep trying, putting your best foot forward, and a lot of effort.
One last question. We'll take a break and everything. Give y'all a chance to breathe here. What's your go-to story when you're talking to somebody, either a youth or an adult, whatever? And there's always a go-to story. You always got the example. I had this guy, or I had this girl, I had this kid recovering from injury, trying to lose weight, trying to do this. You have the story of accomplishment that you always sit there and tell. What's your go-to story that you give to people?
More recently, I've probably I had the blessed opportunity to train Avery when he got done with his ACL surgery and stuff. So when he came to me, he was, upper body only, and it was pretty moderate because he had just got cleared to be able to do that. So that was when we started, and we worked all the way from the end to being able to get him back into squats and everything after that as he continued to progress. And we did a lot of stuff that was going to help speed along his rehab and everything at the gym. But when he came to me, he was 211 pounds, still pretty limited in what he could do. We worked out together and trained for 6 months, a lot of nutrition talk, as much as anybody with his Honey Nut Cheerios and orange juice as a sustainable part of his diet. We worked on that. Melanie and Jack were awesome. I talked with him consistently throughout, helping get him squared away on what he needed to be eating and everything. And by the time we were all said and done with, he went up, I think it was down 0.5% in body fat, gained a little over 20-something pounds in muscle, a 0.5 pound in fat, and 31 pounds of body weight before he shipped off for Plebes Week with the Naval Academy. So that's my one that I've been going to a lot recently. But I had another guy. He was a 50-year-old guy, never been in the gym, came in and started with me. He was about 218 when we started. He's about 195 right now, and he's gained a little over 20 pounds of muscle throughout that process. Well, so you start doing the math and figuring it all out, the body weight change is only 20 something pounds, but when you factor in the amount of muscle that he gained versus the amount of fat that he had to lose to get there, he's
Well, it's like
been
you
a real
said,
right
it's what y'all said at the very beginning. You could sit there and maybe lose 5 pounds
Mhm.
on the scale, but you look like you just got done losing 30 pounds because you moved it
Yep.
and you
Change
pro-
what that
you-
composition was.
and so it looks like you lost 30, 40 pounds and you might have lost 5, everything, but you look a whole lot better and healthier and everything.
Yeah, you got rid of your fat and got muscle.
Yep. Austin, what's your go-to story?
And I've got multiples for the clientele that I talk to, because if you're a 30-year-old that's coming in, I can talk to you about people that I've worked with that age. People at 70, I'd talk about different people with that age, injuries like Colin mentioned, different stuff like that. But a really big one that I always like to go to is I tell them a little bit about myself, because I've been through all kinds of changes throughout my career. And even though I'm a trainer and I generally take care of myself, I've been at a point where I was too little as a young athlete and I needed to gain weight to be bigger to be able to play in college. Well, for the size and position I needed to play compared to yours, for sure.
So what position you play?
I was fullback, tight end, linebacker.
Yeah.
And I was at a point that I was like 190 at a freshman to sophomore year, which is of course big at that age, but I wanted to already be a higher level standard at that point. So I had to get up to 225, 230 to be a good sized person there. But even after college, I got all the way up to 295 at one point. I told myself I was being a strong man. Wasn't exactly that. I was having too much fun not playing football anymore and still eating like I was a football player. So the mental fortitude I had to go through to realize that I needed to make a change in my life to be able to lose weight. It was harder than I used to preach to people, because I was training some people during that period of time. Then I knew I wanted to help people with strength training. Well, if I didn't get my numbers to go up, how could I teach somebody else how to do that? If I've had injuries and I haven't recovered for them, how can I help you with that too? So, everybody's number is going to be different. It doesn't matter where you're starting, where you want to finish. I'm always trying to exceed that goal, and I had to do that for myself too. I'm not a big person on wanting to just always put pictures or show differences and stuff like that. But I was encouraged by some of my clients. So even when I had started Freedom Fitness, was the first time I really put a big transformation, so to say, out. And I showed them that I had, over a 3-month period, lost 35 pounds, changed my entire physique just because I was actually practicing what I preached. I always kind of sort of did it. I just never committed to it in that
Right.
time frame. And I felt like if I didn't prove to you that I'm a man of my word and I can do it, so can you, then that's kind of where I started. But yeah, I mean, I think Colin has done an awesome job with some of his clients and has those big things, but he'll even didn't mention people that they've come in, they can't lift anywhere near the weight that Avery can lift. Honestly, most people can't, but just movement has made their quality of life just absolutely shoot through the roof. And those are the wins that are just as big as anything
Yeah.
else.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Austin and Coach Lamberth here with Freedom Fitness. You're listening to Off the Rails, episode 22 on the Portland Sports Network.
In the city or in the woods, help keep America looking good. Give a hoot, don't pollute. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Forest Service.
From phones and laptops to toys and tools, many of our favorite things run on batteries. But when tossed in the trash or recycling bin, these batteries can spark intense fires that are nearly impossible to stop. Battery fires are happening more often. They've destroyed homes, burned down garbage trucks and recycling centers, and, tragically, taken lives. When a facility goes up in flames, trash and recycling services can be shut down for weeks or even months. The good news, battery fires are easy to prevent. Just remember, never throw batteries in the trash or recycling bin. Always tape the ends and drop them off at a safe collection site or mail them in using a certified return box.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at smokeybear.com, and remember,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This is Coach Danny Thompson, Portland High School Hall of Famer. You're listening to PHS Athletics on Portland Sports Network.
Tennessee Commission for the United States Semiquincentennial was created to plan, encourage, develop, and coordinate the commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States, and recognize Tennessee's integral role in that event and the impact of its people on the nation's past, present, and future. The Commission promotes an inclusive statewide celebration and educational commemoration of America's 250th by interpreting and preserving Tennessee's unique stories, objects, landmarks, and places across our diverse state that define who we are as Tennesseans and Americans.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Graphic Obsessions on Main is in a larger space and has more to choose from than ever. Tons of Panther designs we can print in minutes. Tons of inventory you can grab right off the rack today. And the amazing new hat bar, where you can customize your own hat. See a design you love but not in your size? We'll print it in just minutes. So many unique gift items right in the store. With the holidays fast approaching, remember, shop early at Graphic Obsessions on Main in Portland.
Two guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same two guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
This is Portland High School Hall of Famer Philip Gunnar Thayer. You are listening to PHS Athletics on Portland Sports Network.
Game world or real world, seatbelts save lives.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
While the hosts and guests are encouraged to express their views, they don't necessarily reflect those of the management of Portland Sports Network, but they likely do.
transition to just laying on the table.
Welcome back, Panther fans, to episode 22 of Off the Rail Sports Saturday. Again, I'm your host, Coach Miguel Medeiros, along with Coach John Thayer.
About Mr. Chair there.
That would have been great. Yeah. Again, we have Freedom Fitness, Austin Nelson here, along with Coach Colin Lambert, talking about kind of what y'all do with the youth and everything, going to the high school sports. What sports teams do y'all work with as a whole team? And then kind of what kind of clients do you have coming off the high school sports?
Yeah, so we've had the opportunity to work with a few of the teams as the whole team. The first one was the volleyball team. When Taylor took over, she had already been training with us for a little while. She kind of knew our style and knew that when she was going to get into something like this, she could trust us with helping getting the girls into top shape, work on things that they wouldn't think about doing by themselves. That led into us having an opportunity to work with the softball team. Got the opportunity to work with Tanisha for a couple of years. That was incredible. They actually went on and had one of their best seasons ever after their second year of training with us, which was incredible. And of course, I don't ever think that, exactly what we do is the main leader to it, but they all just continue to just tell us how much more power they had, how much better they felt throughout the entire season. Injuries were lower, things like that. Recently, we've had that opportunity to work with the cheer team as well. So that's been a very fun change, and those girls absolutely love it. We even worked with a cheer team in middle school. We've had the opportunity to have multiple athletes from different sports, whether that's soccer, football, baseball. We don't work with those teams because they're usually a little bit larger.
Right.
We've kind of talked about trying to do different things. I've even talked with the basketball coach about, even if you guys just want help with like programming and things like that too. And we've recently gotten the opportunity to talk with the coaches at the football side. And I know Coach Moore's been coming and doing some one-on-ones with Colin lately too. And so we try to help out as much as we can in that process. But really, I got into this field because as an athlete, I didn't get much opportunities unless I was going to find them to do that. So I full circled it. Instead of being a strength and conditioning coach in a collegiate or NFL level, I just made a facility where pretty much we could still work with athletes and also everyday athletes. I don't think a single person that walks in is just out of shape or anything like that. It's like, no, let's train you like an athlete. Let's see what your body's capable of, and let's move from there. So
When you first started out, and you said you started in 2021?
Yes.
You were just pretty much basically thinking you'll have one-on-one sessions with people. When did it start? When did you start thinking you could actually do teams and everything like that?
Yes.
Was it when Taylor volleyball came to you?
That was
and
one
brought
of them,
that
for sure.
And then kind of what was your idea of going? Well, we could actually do this, for other teams and.
For sure. Well, and I had offered and gone and helped out with my alma mater at Station Camp one year. I had thought that maybe it was one of those things whenever I had started this business. We had boot camps, strength classes, and then one-on-ones. And I was like, well, maybe I could just get the athletes to join those classes. I never thought I could get the entire team to be together or do a group training for just them until we were able to kind of figure out what was in the budget for these kids, what fundraisers are they doing, because I wanted to make it something that was easy for them to get into. For example, one of the main things that I always look off of is what my team try to look at when it goes to like a D1 facility. The pricing was just way too out of our budget. So I was wondering, how can I help with doing something like that, but also make it feasible for the kids and opportunity like that. But yeah, when Taylor reached out about that, I was like, well, this will be the first time I do this, but I know I've got the facility for it. It's kind of what I built that area to look like. I had done plenty of training and I had plenty of experience with even interning at a collegiate level that I knew I could manage that. It took a little bit to kind of get the feel of it and make sure that those girls were committed to it as well, because no program matters if you can't get the athletes to buy into it. If I just came out, was hard-nosed, just absolutely running them like crazy, making them pass out, not be able to walk the next day, that's not what I needed to do. I needed to make
you out there being a coach.
Yeah, exactly. I needed to make them want to push each other that hard so that when they walk in the next day, they're like, oh, I'm so sore, but that was the best workout I've ever had. So yeah, that was kind of what really got me into the team set.
It really does help when you do a team like that, that they do have success following you know, if you're doing it in all season, they had success because as a young athlete, they're going to sit there and go, oh, hey, we worked out. What changed?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the workouts. And it, you know, it goes into, and y'all know this as much as I do, or anything. It's, well, you made them stronger. Okay. So now they got faster arm speed, which means they're stronger. They can swing the bat if it's baseball, softball, volleyball. They're going to hit the ball with more arm speed, which creates faster, you know, all that's
right.
physiology part of it. You know, okay. Or not
Core.
Huh?
It's your core. Not your arm.
Well, no, but it's going to create
at
more
least you
bat
can hold
speed.
the bat up.
Yeah.
The bat don't weigh as much because
weight
you're
on it to
stronger.
get warmed up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and so you're going to be able to swing it faster bat speed and everything, along with your core. Okay.
That's even
It's
greater
gonna
for
sit
golf.
there. Yeah.
We've had golf
Definitely.
athletes too.
I can imagine anything.
So I mean,
Even formers, you know, it's hard to form, dude.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're in better shape, you're going to get your job done in less injury.
He knows about that.
Yeah. Well, then, I mean, just the confidence side with the girls and stuff, too. I mean, we've got, you know, the volleyball girls in there right now. We've got, I mean, a very good amount of them that when we go real heavy goblet squats and stuff, they're able to get that 100-pound dumbbell from the bottom of the rack. I mean, so you think of a girl playing high school volleyball, being able to know she can go into the gym and handle that 100-pound dumbbell and do goblets. I mean, it's a lot
And
of
you do 'em
confidence
as
that
a
goes
team,
with it.
it builds
Yeah.
bonding on
The
the
other
team,
girls
yeah.
are around and cheering. They know, they see her do that, and next thing you know, they're able to do it, and it just builds and snowballs from there.
Yeah.
what separates, and this is not so much as a training session, but what separates good athletes from great athletes, in your opinion?
Discipline.
Yep. Doing stuff on your own. It's not, you know, if you're playing a fall sport, it's a year-round sport, whether you want it to be. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be a travel ball or a game scenario for that, but it's always trying to improve yourself mentally, physically, nutritionally, always getting better. And it's got to be one of those things that a lot of times it's what you think about when you first wake up in the morning. It's what you go to bed thinking about. And it's always, how can I improve myself and better myself? There's no room for complacency when you're trying to become a greater athlete.
Yeah. And what are you doing when people aren't watching? I was lucky enough to have some people pour into my life at a time that I knew sports was going to be something that led to what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And they were preaching the exact same thing. So I already knew, you know, if I had friends that were going out, they wanted to party, things like that, I was going to the gym. I was going to do something to be around people that I knew I wanted to base my life around because I had a bigger goal than what they did. And that doesn't mean that what they did was, you know, any better or worse than, I just knew what I wanted for myself. So if you wanted to be the great athlete, you can't be doing the things that everybody else is doing. You've got to go beyond that.
What, how important is a little softball question, as they call it? How important is strength training for high school athletes?
I think it could be everything. I mean, everybody's showing up and going through practice, no matter what your coaches look like and this, that, and the other. But you really take a look at a lot of these great programs, and this is one of those areas where social media has been great. You can get in and see what it's looking like out of practice at, you know, the Alcoas, the Upperman, and stuff like that, what they're doing every day. Majority of those videos you're going to see from their athletic pages are what they're getting in and doing in the weight room. A stronger athlete, 9 times out of 10, is going to be a better athlete because you're going to move better, you're going to move more efficiently, you're going to move more confidently. And it's, again, everybody's showing up in, you know, for football, everybody's showing up in practice football in the summer. But what are you doing in the weight room is going to separate you from everybody else. Everybody's got their offense, their defense, their schemes, and what they're doing. But when you line up on a Friday night, that person that took the weight room seriously, or that person that was in the weight room all summer instead of just focusing on 7-on-7 or whatever it is going to be that more dominant athlete when it comes down to it.
And I would even piggyback onto that to say even in-season strength training is more important too. Because
Yeah, that's critical. That's a really hard balance.
Yep.
So many people lose it halfway through the season. And that doesn't mean you've got to go max out. It doesn't mean you need to absolutely torture yourself. But now more
You're not
studies.
lifting heavy to gain. You're lifting to maintain.
And we're doing more power development. I lifted heavier in high school than I did most of the time when I was playing in college. We moved still heavy weights, but faster than maximal slow. So we did a lot more even during game time. We would have a little bit of a 20 to 30 minute workout before a game just to get your body moving, get everything firing correctly, protect your joints, mobility, anything like that. So strength training is by far the number one thing.
And I
most
think
athletes should
basketball
do.
probably is the sport that suffers the most
Yes.
from that because it's so much running.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I remember my son, Coach Kington, was one of the first guys that really got non-football sports doing workouts.
Yeah.
He was really phenomenal at. And my son, man, I can remember his preseason pictures were always really buff. Well, at the end of the season, he was skinny again.
Yep.
You know, and that was the key is that balancing that. And I'm sure Coach Ferd, I mean, he's a great coach. So I'm sure he's got something going on. But that's the hardest sport to me just because of the run.
Yep. They need more
And
conditioning.
they play a
type
couple
training.
times a week. And, you
Yeah.
know, and of course, baseball, they do a lot of days too. But they're not going to wear their body down
And-
in a baseball game.
And then
because
it's
it's just
convincing
not
that kid
hot.
to continue eating more too, because they're running more, they're burning all that, so they keep up with everything and to maintain that weight and that body composition, you've got to be able to fuel that body. So you're used to eating 3 meals a day, and you're running a lot. You might have to be eating 5, and you're not going to gain weight, but that's what you've got to do to be able to
You
maintain
don't
and
wanna
not lose that weight.
Yeah, that's the key.
What how do you explain to someone how weight training will help prevent injuries?
So when we train, and of course, if you're just weight training and you don't know the direction or the guidance you need, it may cause injuries. So that's the first and foremost. If you have correct guidance and you know to take your exercises through a full range of motion, because I fully believe in that for everybody to begin with so they can learn their body. Coordination is a massive piece to strength and conditioning as well. But if let's just say I'm going to a Planet Fitness to just start. The best way to get started with any machine is to start on the lightest setting. I don't care how strong you are. You need to feel the movement. You need to make sure that seat's in the right position. You need to even understand what muscle group you're targeting. Because if I'm doing a chest press and all I feel is my shoulders, you best believe I'm in the wrong position, okay? Most people always have that issue. That's why I use that as my main example, because if my elbows are flared and my chest is caved down, I'm going to get a lot of front delt engagement and not enough chest. So we teach people proper positioning. But if you work your muscles through a full range of motion, that's also all the stretching you probably need to do. Because if my muscle has worked through its full range of motion, the extra stretching, static stretching, that honestly is working more your tendons than it is more of the actual muscle. That's why a lot of our industry has started to even move athletes towards more dynamic type stretching before exercise, because there's too many injuries. If I'm just sitting there doing an isolated touching my toes, that for 30 seconds is going to lengthen the tendon, and I don't want that before a dynamic sport. So if I'm sitting there stretching my calves on a little stair, and then I take off running or I go on a bike ride, there's a good chance I might actually pull my Achilles doing that. But if I'm doing more of a dynamic hop in place, pogos, things like that before I jump, run, or anything like that, that's a bit more efficient. So anything that goes back to the fact of you just have to make sure you understand what you're doing and have the right guidance, that prevents injury more than anything.
And so that's where, it's not technology, that's where understanding what your body is about and doing now compared to back when I was in grade school and high school, which is 70s and 80s, because it was always don't bounce. Hey, go touch your toes, but don't bounce. Now you're actually wanting to bounce a little bit. If you're going to do that exercise
I
right
was
there.
doing it right the whole time.
You got in trouble
You're-
for it.
you're-
I did. I got majorly trouble.
And that little side thing to that, it made me laugh when I got out and realized that they were talking about recovery position for after exercise. And, you know, coaches always say, don't put your hands on your knees, don't bend over this, that, and the other, put your hands up on your head. Well, I found studies that actually prove that hands on your head, it collapses the lungs and the cage of your system, and a slight bent over position actually expands it more. I was like, I knew I could breathe better down there. I knew it.
the whole time. They were screaming at you.
But that was for a different
Body language.
That was more body language
Yeah.
and more discipline than it was you can't breathe better.
Well, let's stay on knocking the old coaches from the days. What's the biggest conditioning mistake coaches or athletes make, in your opinion?
You want it first?
Yeah, I think it's making the conditioning not sport specific. You know, if you're doing something with, I coach football, so I'm gonna go with that again. You know, doing 1, 2, 3 mile runs and stuff like that as a football team. Like, I mean, it's great for overall conditioning, but finding ways to play that in to what's gonna actually happen on a Friday night for the kids. The short bursts, the 15, the 20, 50-yard sprints, stuff like that. An average football plays 3 to 5 seconds. not a whole lot of times on a Friday night is the ball going to get snapped and you're going to go out there and run a
2
mile at
miles.
one time. So it's finding things like that that actually tie into the, you don't just run for the sake of running. Don't just lift for the sake of lifting. Lift and run with a purpose that ties into what you're trying to get out of that benefit.
I like that.
Sports are going to lift differently. I lift different with my track girls and guys than I do with my soccer boys. It's everything's going to have different benefit. You want to do certain types of explosion with this, or maybe you need to slow it down and do more of an isometric with the other. Conditioning is a lot different. I've got a track girl that's transitioning from running 800s to more to that 200 to 400 range. Her lifting has changed, our conditioning has changed, and we're doing all that based off that. We've started adding in block starts to help her work on that. You don't
That's
use
a
blocks
good
in
idea.
800
I
yet.
like that.
So she's having to learn how to do that. So making sure what you're doing ties in directly to what you're wanting to get out of it benefit wise, and not, again, just doing things for the sake of doing it. Be like, well, I showed up and I did this.
Right.
That's great, but how did that pertain to your sport?
Like in the old days on the high school thing, they had a deal you had to run a mile in a certain amount of time or you couldn't make the team.
Yeah.
One of the best catchers we ever had, Craig Ballantyne, dude, he could barely get it. But he never ran a mile on a baseball field. I mean, he ended up playing college baseball, but
Majority of the linemen would finish before me in a mile in high
team
school.
just because of that.
It wasn't my thing.
I mean, I would even go as far to continue off of that and say not having an actual program for what you want conditioning wise. Because if day one I get all my kids in here and the first thing, and this is coming from experience I've lived, is we're running 16 110s and you're going to get this time or you got to redo it or everybody's got burpees, this, that, and the other. And I understand from a team standpoint, you want everybody to be pushed, but if nobody's ever ran a 110 before in their life and they have to do 16 before they did 8, 10, 12, 14, and then 16, you're setting them up for failure.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
it's not that you don't want to do these things to strengthen their mentality and toughness and all that. I'm 100% game for that. But you're just asking for injury when you try to just force any kind of conditioning just because that's what you think you should do.
Well, part of that was because I know at Tech, when I played ball at Tech, we first started out, my first 2 years, you had to run, I think Lyman had 3 miles to do, and the backs had 3.5 miles to do in a certain amount of time. Okay, that was just making sure, and you hear all these, oh, we got 15 100s, or we got 25 100s, you got to make them a certain time when you go to camp, at NFLs. That's to make sure you're in shape.
Yes.
Okay, that's what that testing is for. Everything else was for specific what you're doing.
Exactly.
So, I can understand that. So let's give you a little plug here. You got parents going, hey, listen to the show. Maybe we need to take Junior or little Missy here over there and see what they can do for them and everything. What's your pitch to them on what you can do for them? What is your pitch when somebody brings someone to you as an youth athlete and go, hey, can you help these guys out? Are you looking at the sport that they play? Are they doing it for a sport? Are they doing it for themselves? Are that's questions you're all asking? And then what are y'all, how long does it take you to get a program in place for them?
So what he does whenever somebody comes in, like we always do, if you're coming in for classes, your first 2 classes are free. If you want to come in for one-on-ones or anything like that, you have a first 1 hour consult that you come in for free. So the way I always approach that with athletes, come in, I'm going to get a little information about you, what you've done, what you haven't done, if you're doing a sport, not doing a sport, what you're looking to get out of it. And then for 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to warm you up, and then I'm going to make you move. You're going to do, probably not going to throw any weights on there or anything like that. I'm going to have you go through some squats, some different upper body lifts. Do you cave your chest and use all shoulders when you're pressing like he talked about? Are you rocking up on your toes and your heels leaving the ground in the squat? Can you do an A skip, B skip correctly? What's your running form look like? Are you heel striking when you take steps? Are you on the balls of your feet and on your toes like you're supposed to? Are you getting the triple flex, triple extension, different pieces like that? And in that last 10, 15 minutes, sit down with mom and dad. Hey, this is what we did. This is what I noticed. This is what I would like to change. This is what I'd like to adjust. Agree to it. And then, programming for me can vary anything from instantly I know exactly what I want to do and I can write it out in about 5 minutes, or somebody that's a little advanced, you got to have to be a little more picky about it. And, I might sit down and look at my tablet for 30, 45 minutes, put this in there and be like, oh, no, actually, I'm going to move this here, do that and the other. And it kind of varies a little bit from individual, but for the most part, that's usually my base outline for how I go about it.
Yeah, and to add into that, because that's exactly how we start, we also try to talk with the parents, because obviously they're the ones that are going to be funding their youth athletes' success, is what are they going to benefit from? What's your commitment level? If you're going to be able to show up 5 days a week, there's a great chance we may just need like 1 or 2 one-on-one days, and you just come to those classes for free, so you get extra strength training on top of that. I've had many that have done that. I have many that have said, well, I can only be here 1 day a week. Well, I promise you, you need to be in the one-on-one, because if you just show up to a random class, you're not getting enough out of that to be able to take with you. So even our one-on-ones, we will help set up things that they can do outside of the gym, not just in that 1 hour time frame that they're with us. So we try to meet people where they're at. Obviously, budgets are different. It doesn't matter one way or another. I'm trying to help get your kid in there so we can get that position, and also what age they're at. Because as Colin was saying, if we throw weights on a kid and they're 12 years old for their first session, it may not be the best option, right? If they've been working out for 17 years already, and they're, at the point that they are ready to go to the collegiate level, and we've had some kids like that. Sometimes it's unlearning bad habits that we've done in the weight room with heavy weights, and then we go back to progressing forward. So a lot of that is very specific to the individual and the person. But the main thing is just show up, because the first one's free anyways. Let's see what we can do to help you. If anything, you're going to learn a lot more in that 1 hour session with us than going online and just searching on YouTube for 5 hours. So,
and same way if Kyle comes in, doesn't play a sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
He wants to sit there and
That's
get
what you get for not coming on camera.
wants to get toned up and everything. You go about the same process, but you just kind of see what his goals are, what he's wanting,
and commitment level,
and then sit there and take him through a short little workout, see what he can do, what his knowledge is of certain movements and everything, and then you sit down toward whatever his goal. Kyle, what's your goals, man? What do you want to do?
I'll pay for his first visit.
It's free. It's free. You're gonna pay. You pay for the first one. It's
That's
free.
a friend right there.
What's your goals, Kyle?
Goal is to lose some torso extra baggage fat and lose 10, 15 pounds and just have more energy.
How much do you work out now?
What he's doing.
Right there.
That's a major workout.
That's always my first question.
Hooking up the headset with it.
Okay.
At home.
So,
It's not with weights.
yeah. Well, and not, yeah, just movement. Yeah, and that's where I go to in any of these type of frames, is because if I don't know where you're starting, I don't know where to take you.
Right.
So I got to know about what your routine is, what you think you know, and then I teach you what you should know. If you came in and you worked out pretty regularly and you're like, yeah, I just want to test this out, I might just throw you to the wolves, put you in the workout, let you go in a class, because you get 2 of them for free. I recommend 1 upper body, 1 lower. I tell everybody, just because somebody is moving faster and doing more weight than you does not mean you need to keep up with them. My exercise may say 4 sets, but you're only going to do half of that today, because you may feel good now, but you may not walk tomorrow. So I try to warn people beforehand, and if something hurts, we're going to give you modifications. Please let us know. We've also had some people that, something hurts and they just ignore that. And unfortunately that continues to go down that route. So we're like, look, we're trying to help you. We're not trying to injure you. We want to make you feel the best you can be. But somebody's coming in, whether it's to start out with their first 2 classes free or their first one-on-one, we're trying to meet you where you're at, how open you are about it, how committed you are, what's your work-life balance. And then once we figure out a plan for you, that's where we find out membership options. So we have tons of different ones just to meet people where they're at, whether it's 1 day a week for private training, 2 days a week, 3 days a week. All of our private trainings come in with full free access to class if you want to do something like that. Our class settings, we have different packages for if you want to commit 1 month at a time, 3 months, a year. So that way it's got just many options there.
So he's got to work most of the day. Okay. Doesn't have time in the afternoon. What's the earliest that he can come in?
5 a.m.
So you all start at 5 a.m.
And one-on-ones, yes. And we've got a trainer now, Brian Woodall, sometimes shows up about 4:15 a.m. So if you ever really wanted to get up and at it very early, he will be available in August.
Like 3 hours of sleep on how that's fair.
He's old military. That's right. He doesn't need more. But no, it's really just preference. So if I highly recommend anybody working throughout the day and afternoon, you're gonna have minimal motivation by the time the day is over. So if you get up and you get started doing something for yourself, like your exercise you currently do, it's gonna be more beneficial in the long run because it's gonna give more to your day as well. Endorphin release in the morning actually sparks your metabolism. It makes you drink more water throughout the day. You obviously probably end up getting more steps because you're more movement throughout the entire day. So overall, you're healthier just by starting your day with a little workout.
So we'll continue to hammer on Kyle here just a little bit.
He's a fan.
So he
Why are you picking on me?
So he hasn't done nothing in a couple years. He wants to start doing something again. As athletes, we know as you sit there and not do stuff, and then you get back into it, you're going to be sore. And I know the reason why you're sore and everything. I don't want to get into that. You can explain why that is, but how do you sit there and tell somebody when you first start, even if you're just doing the bar, just to see what their movements are like and everything? You haven't done this movement. You're going to have muscles that are sore that you never had before. It's not, how do you talk them into getting past that and explain to them that it's just soreness that will work itself out and everything? How do you sit there and tell someone, that's.
Well, and that's a lot for me based on the individual and how open they are to it. So I've had some clients that come in that say they don't want to be sore. Soreness is not a direct indicator of strength gain. However, it obviously proves whether or not you feel the muscles that we're trying to work, right? So if I had Kyle come in and we're going to do some squats and his shoulders are sore the next day, something happened. Like, I don't know what it was, but that wasn't what we were targeting, right?
It had the bar in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
We got to build your traps up so you don't sit there and bruise.
Right. So I definitely recommend starting slower than you think, even if that means I'm only doing one set of each exercise. Then if, okay, you're a little bit more advanced, you've gotten a couple weeks into it, I want to go up some more on the intensity. I started adding a couple more sets. I had a couple more reps. I add a little bit more weight. We always go by the progressive overload protocol. But however, doesn't matter if you continue to progress those things. If you still aren't getting your hydration in, you're not sleeping enough, you're not eating the correct protein, carbs, fats that you need. If you're undernutritioned, you're going to be just as sore doing the exact same workout from one week to the next, no matter the difference in that intensity. So that's a big thing we always preach, is just how much outside of the gym matters as much as it does inside.
What's your advice for an athlete hoping to play in college?
Kind of like what he said earlier. I think, what are you doing when nobody else is looking? Everything with and I hate to bring these up, but the rapid availability of all the vape pens and everything out there, and getting mixed up in the wrong scene, sitting at home playing video games all day instead of doing different stuff. I mean, if you really want to look, you can, Christian McCaffrey is a great example. He's got his schedule from high school out on the internet and stuff. He did an interview and talked about it a while back. His dad played NFL receiver for Denver and everything. And so when they had that conversation with his dad, and he told him, this is my goal. This is what I want. I want that next level lifestyle. His dad built that around for him. He started getting up at that 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, doing what he needed to do before school, going to school, taking care of everything in the classroom. It's just as important as anything you're doing outside of the field. If you don't have those grades, that ACT score, that GPA, colleges are going to overlook you. I had this conversation with Avery. Avery was a great athlete, one of the best ones I've ever seen in person and everything like that. But you've got to have things that's going to set you apart from everybody else. There's 70 more of you across the country. That's nothing away from him. Just is what it is. But with his athletic level and his GPA and what he did in the classroom, helped him stand out more. Part of what helped lead him to the Naval Academy there. So taking care of that, doing what you need to do, and if you're going to make that commitment to doing that at the next level, sticking with that. When Zoe decided, my daughter decided she wanted to go run college track, I was like, okay, but if that's what you want to do, there's going to be some mornings and afternoons you're going to hate me. But if you want to run college track, I'm going to prepare you to run college track, and I'm going to show you what it's going to be like when you get there. And there's days she doesn't want to do it. I was like, I promise what you're doing with me is a lot more relaxed and low-key than what they're going to have you having you do there. My job is just to prepare you for it so that it's not a mental or physical shock when you get to that level.
But the key is, as a parent, you learn behavior.
Yes.
So many people think the kids just know it. It's learned behavior, and it starts with the parents.
And you can't force that on the kid. Like, I mean,
No,
that's the thing.
it-
I was never going to do that with Zoe, but when she came to me, it was like, hey,
Right.
you know, Lincoln Memorial, they've talked about a scholarship. Now that I have that or in my realm of possibilities, this is what I want to go do. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But if that's what you want to go do, that's what I'm going to train you and teach you to be able to go do. And you've got to be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, that's how with my son when he was growing. Every year we had the revisit.
Yep.
You know, I want to go play college baseball. Do you really?
Yeah.
And
You've
I
got to
mean,
love the game.
and
You've got to love whatever
every
it
year We
is.
sit down with his mom and we have the contract.
Yeah.
Grades, the extra. That's what I work on with my parents with middle school. You know, for Christmas, a tee, a net. Your only work isn't going to be a practice.
Right.
If on our days off, when you come and go, we haven't practiced today. Yeah, you have practice every day.
Yeah.
You got a tee and a net, don't you?
Mhm.
Right. That's the stuff, and
Yeah.
it's learned behavior.
Well, and I would even just go far to say if you are a young athlete and you really want to go somewhere, you've got to go get in front of these coaches. Like Colin just said, there are so many great athletes across the states, and there's so many limited spots at anywhere you want to be. It's like 1% that you even get the chance to even have an opportunity to go somewhere, right? So if I am a great athlete, but I've never left Portland, I've never sent a single film somewhere, I'm just hoping and praying somebody sees my film from a football game or a baseball game, or let's say I'm playing soccer and I've just been in one tournament and that's where I finally get that opportunity. If you're not sending your videos out to scouts, if you're not trying to reach out, you have to be your biggest advocate for yourself, and even to the point of being annoying to them sometimes, because as long as you show that persistence and you continue to do that, that's going to be the number one thing to try to at least get that opportunity to even go somewhere. So get your name out there, go to camps, make sure that you're doing the things you need to behind the scenes in order to have that opportunity to even step up there. And once you've earned that opportunity, it's just begun. The work has just started. It's never over. You just have the next mission from there.
I know we talked about this with, you know, you talked about Avery earlier, and you talked about it, you know, the success stories, everything. What have clients taught y'all, you know, as you're doing this and everything? You know, has someone specifically sit there and go, man, this, you know, this guy, this lady, or this young kid, you know, this athlete here has inspired me, or has really opened my eyes to maybe this or this and everything? Have you been inspired by your clients?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first one that pops into my head. I've got a guy, he's 73 years old. We just started not that long ago. He had done some gym stuff in the past when he was younger and lifted and everything, got out of it, had a really rough go for a while. I mean, ended up, I think he was pretty much fully bedridden for almost a year at one point. A lot of different surgeries, abdominal mesh, this, that, and the other, and everything. And, you know, at 73, he's, you know, this is again not that quality of life that I want. I'm gonna take it into my own hands. I'm gonna make those changes, and I'm gonna get back into it. So it's, you know, never being too old to try something new, or to do something new, or to start trying to work on bettering yourself. He did have to go through another surgery not that long ago from a complication from a while back, and within a week of an abdominal surgery, he was back in the gym doing the same routine that we've been doing right before he left. He said previously that was a 2, 3, up to 6 month recovery process. And with his body being so used to that tear down and rebuilding itself from those workouts, within 1 week, he was able to get back in the gym. So no matter what stage of your life you're in, you know, weight, age, whatever that looks like, it's never too old or never too late to start making that change and to better yourself, to get that quality of life that you've always wanted or you're wanting to get now.
Yeah. And as a quick joke, a lot of my clients have taught me patience. All jokes aside, everybody obviously comes from a different background standpoint, and his client is an absolute awesome guy. And it brings me to thinking about a couple of ones that I've trained throughout my life, but one that really sticks out for sure is a guy that he started with me around 72 or 73-year-old, similar to what he has. And his first comments were, I just want to be the best I can be every day I show up. Still worked a full-time job, was in the military, owned his own business. We've had tons and tons of heart-to-hearts, different conversations about just life. So I've gotten the opportunity just to step back, learn from him, understand everything that goes on, not just as a human being, but as being a good father, good husband, good friend to others, and just to see his perseverance through all the things that he's gone through. He, at 76 years old, joined us for one of our Tough Mudders that we went to, and he was one of the oldest men on the course and went through just about every single obstacle. And that kind of fight just, I mean, it lit a fire. I mean, it just proves that you may think you're not capable of something, but you are way more capable than you ever thought. Battling through injuries, battling through cancer, battling through all kinds of things, a heart attack, and continues to want to show up to the gym, put in the best effort, no matter what that level is. He has a no quit attitude, and that's the best part for me.
What programs would you like to create in the future for the community or for yourself, for your business, for athletes or just for individuals?
Yeah, I think, of course, stepping out and doing this scholarship this year was a passion project of mine for the last couple of years. Wasn't really sure how much support it might get, how I would set it up, things like that. But seeing this come to fruition, it really does open my eyes to just more opportunities, like maybe big youth camps, have that opportunity to, you know, to me, it's never been about the money. Yeah, I need some money to keep the lights on, to obviously pay my bills and things like that. But I want to change as many people's lives through fitness as I can. And obviously that starts from the youth, because that's what got me into this to begin with. So I'm hoping one day I can do large youth camps at very minimal to no cost if I can get sponsors and fundraisers, things like that done, which is why the initial sponsorship was what it was, so that I can potentially branch that off and maybe offer a big community event, have maybe one day like 50 to 100 kids in a big camp and nobody has to pay a thing. I just want people to be able to learn fitness the right way, the healthy way, and not be scared of it. So that's probably where it's going to go next. And, you know, hopefully we just continue to grow in this community.
Looking at that right there, if you had 50 to 100 kids come out for, say, youth camp, and you teach them lifts and conditioning stuff, but have fun with it and everything, would you be able to do it at your place right now, or would you be looking to go somewhere else to maybe put that camp on where you could sit there and field that many?
Multiple options. So our facility could probably operate up to 50 kids. We've had multiple classes go on, and I've got a large turf area, a large weight room area, and we've switched back and forth with different teams, different classes, things like that. I obviously could utilize some of our nice facilities around Portland, whether it's out at the field that's right next to our facility, whether it's going to one of the parks, or just anything that may come opportunity. I know we've had the opportunity to go over to the Portland's gym and just be there and operate with them some too. So if it becomes bigger, obviously I'll have to look into what I can do, or maybe I just branch it off into age groups, because I could always do that as well, or even just different sports. And I could always put caps on it, adjust it as needed. But if we get decent funding, just for me, there's a certain level or amount of kids that one coach at a time is allowed to actually train them per insurance purposes. And where I go is also different. So my facility is probably number one because my insurance covers everything for that. Those are, you know, the back end things most people don't think about. Obviously waivers are good, but you're neglectful if I try to coach 50 kids by myself. That's just not safe. So we hire on more coaches, and I've got a lot of great coaches that help out with even my sports team, so they understand the flow and the operation. So I know for a fact with up to 50 kids, I have 5 coaches on hand that could just jump in and be able to help. That's 1 coach per 10 kids. We could set up 5 stations up quickly, adjust things as needed, and just work on a fun little event together like that.
Quick questions here. Early morning, late night workouts.
I used to be a late night guy, but now being in this and everything, I'm big on the early morning. I like getting in and getting it done first thing in the morning. Like you mentioned earlier, it kind of sets the tone for the whole day and stuff. I've never been an early morning person, kind of been forced into that role. So used to it was, 8 o'clock
he
at night
cried so
workouts.
much. He cried so much like 2 years ago when he started.
It was a growing process.
He's like, I have to get up when you do now.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But it's fun because we sat there at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, texting each other. So,
You gotta give people time to get their coffee before you're sending them defensive installs at 4:30 while you're sitting there on third shift. But
He's very aggravated how happy I am every single morning.
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a lot. But
So you're early morning too?
Yeah,
Okay.
early morning, midday, afternoon. You got a time for it, I'll do it.
Cardio or weights?
weights,
Weights,
Squats or deadlifts?
deadlift.
deadlift, big time, and hack squat.
Favorite healthy meal?
Oh man, I'm trying to decide how healthy I'm gonna go with that. I'm a big right now. It's the the classic bodybuilding meal and everything, but grilled chicken and rice. I mean, you find healthy different seasonings, sauces, and stuff like that to be able to mix in and everything else, and that's kind of one of those. It's the same thing every day, but it also gives you the ability to change it every single day, so you can meal prep in bulk, but still not have to feel like you're eating the exact same meal 15 times in a row, and that helps a lot of people with consistency, me included on that.
Yeah, probably steak and fish. Chicken and rice, of course, has always been a big staple. Even my 3-year-old wants chicken and rice all the time now because that's what we eat, right? But if I'm picking something just to change it up a little bit, I'd probably say a good steak, whether that's a New York strip or a ribeye.
From Twisted L Ranch.
From Twisted L Ranch, plug it in. But
I've been waiting on that the whole time we've been here.
But somebody has been not getting me my steaks lately, so.
Can only grow what the good Lord allows me to birth at the house.
So we're waiting on the best steaks that are ever been made.
I'm supposed to be asking him, how much what he charges and everything.
Yeah.
But every time I asked him last year, and it's like, you're on a 3-year wait list. So,
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
No,
We did have some boys born
Taking
this
too
year,
long.
so it'll be good. We've got one we're about to finish off at the house. He looks real nice. I'm excited about it.
So if anybody wants to add to the Twisted L Ranch Foundation, so we can get some more
Yeah,
beef out
land donations would be greatly appreciated.
there. We need land, we
Yeah.
need beef, we need more.
Favorite cheat meal?
Ooh, I'm a salt guy. I know a lot of people, the sweets and everything else, but it's hard to burger and fries, pizza wings, that type of stuff. That's always definitely my go-to on that one.
I mean, take them all, why don't you? Probably hibachi,
Sad
sushi.
part.
I love that. I love Euro Kings too. Can't stop with that. That's at least once a week.
Most underrated exercise?
I'm going to go back to deadlift on that one because everybody gives that a negative view because of the injury capabilities and stuff like that. But you think about the full body effect and what you're able to get benefit-wise out of it when it's done correctly and safely. It's pretty unrivaled and untouched when it comes to that. So
That probably along with squats, because squats is just a great foundation. It doesn't matter what type of squat you do, there's multiple versions. Regular squat, barbell squat, goblet, split squat, anything like that, it's a great foundation.
Front squats, back squats.
Exactly.
So,
You name it.
what's the most overrated exercise?
I'm a big fan of it and I do it all the time, but I'm going to go with bench press when you think about the functionality and what it really adds in day in and out for athletes, non-athletes and stuff. It's a fun lift, it's a competitive lift, but the functionality benefit of that compared to a lot of the other ones just isn't there. I know it's what everybody wants to do, myself included, but I'm going to go with bench.
If any of my members are listening to this, they're going to be very upset because I program this all the time. It's not a great strength exercise. I'm going to put it that way. But burpees. Burpees are overall, you move. You're not going to grow a lot of strength with it, but conditioning and be able to use it as fillers, it's an incredible movement. But it's definitely overrated.
Favorite motivational quote?
Embrace the suck. I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough one.
It better be the one you've got plastered all over the wall at the gym.
Yeah.
And on your t-shirts.
Well,
I don't know if you can say it on air though.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
We got a button over there we can bleep.
Well, let's just say it's quit your something. And that's one of our little slogans that's posted up in the gym, but that's not even my favorite one. My favorite one's probably more along the lines of just, God, I can't even remember off the top of my head now. But
Well, my deal, we don't have any advertisements, so who are we gonna make that?
yeah, yeah, for sure. No,
Oh, we're gonna quit paying you guys now. because
Right.
You said was it a B word?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dadgummit, we're leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut her down.
No. The one I was thinking about was,
I love it, by the way.
yeah, your warm up weights today or your heaviest weights today is going to be your warm up weights tomorrow, and that just pretty much puts into a slogan of like we've got that one as a little billboard in our gym as well. But it's just to tell you that like it doesn't matter where you start. At some point, what you're doing now is going to be easy, but you have to start. And another one was one day or day one. You got to pick it.
Who would be your dream athlete to train?
I don't know.
You go ahead. I'm thinking.
Derrick Henry. Be incredible. That'd be so fun. Such a
I
monster.
might have to go with like just based off physique and what you've been able to see him do and everything. James Harrison with his age, I know he's retired and everything, but
Yeah.
you still see his videos. I almost went Aaron Arnold or Miles Garrett, but then that one hit me. I think he would be an absolute freak and a blast of a training session, even just to go sit and watch and learn. I mean, that guy, what is he? He's almost 60 now, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. We'll pass all that. We'll go back. We'll ask you some of the questions we asked some of the athletes that come on. Favorite class in school when you were in school?
History. I was really big into history, especially the real far back ancient European civilization type stuff and everything like that. Greece, Sparta, Troy, all that. Hands down hardest class I took at Tennessee Tech and regretted that part of it, but also one of my favorite classes just from a learning perspective.
Awesome.
In high school, it was math, and it's great because I count with just up to 10 or 20 now. So I never even need math in my life anymore. But when I got into college, it was human anatomy and kinesiology.
Favorite food?
Probably burgers, especially grown at the house.
Yeah, wings.
Favorite restaurant to go to?
I'm gonna go here in Portland with that one, and I'm gonna have to go with Euro King. That's pretty much our go-to if we end up eating out and stuff.
What's your go-to?
So you need to go out somewhere.
Oh, we don't do that though. Not as much
Come
as
on now.
anybody. Yeah. If we go out, the last place we went, it was really, really good, and it was an awesome experience. Was at Hickory and Oak in Bowling Green. The food was phenomenal. It was a great atmosphere and everything in there. It's a little more on that high end, so we went for our anniversary, but it was a really great experience, and we enjoyed everything we had there.
Catch Land and Sea too, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. It was really good.
Mine's Jeff Ruby's, downtown Nashville.
So what's your order?
I get whichever their best ribeye. I know they're usually aged differently.
Yeah.
But I always get the Godfather roll, which they've now switched the name of that. I forgot what they've changed it to, but it's
I
got.
feel like how he's got it memorized.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But they've got filet on top of the sushi rolls. It is amazing. You've got to get the mac and cheese, add the lobster, add the cheese. There's extra cheese onto it. It's the top 5 in the entire United States. Incredible. And we've always got to get a dessert. I've always got to get an old fashioned, but it's usually the best.
So what's your go-to at Euro King?
At Euro King, it's the mixed grilled platter, jalapenos, olives, tzatziki, and just load it down.
Spicy feta.
So what's your favorite fast food? You can't use Euro King now, so now you gotta go back to fast
I
food.
consider that more real food than fast food. Oh, fast food, Chick-fil-A. I actually feel like you're getting some real stuff out of it. It's got some decently healthy options because
Those are God's calories.
Yeah, I mean it's to the point now. True fast food is about intolerable with the tummy.
What's your fast food?
I'm gonna have to now, just for the fact that it's in town, just say In-N-Out. Very good.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
but
got it down there, don't you?
You gotta wait forever.
I
It's
know.
like, good God.
Well, I ended up hitting it right as soon as they opened in Lebanon, and now it's in the Rivergate, and they're about to have it in Hendersonville. It's about to open.
Well, let me know when the lines get within 30-minute wait.
Yeah, right. Just get there when they open. But it is very good.
So a couple questions to end this here. If someone was listening, because we don't,
Yeah.
we only got about 2 or 3 that actually listen live. They always go back.
Thank
But
you.
If you got a message, so if the listeners want to change their life, what's the first step they should take tomorrow?
The first step is the hardest step, and that's just walking through the door. Come to whether that's our gym, Planet Fitness, Extreme, Gold's Gym, Hendersonville, whatever it is, getting your foot in the door, making that commitment to yourself, and holding yourself accountable to do that. It's the hardest decision you'll ever make is to get started. Once you do that, you really get the ball rolling and stuff. It amazes people how easy it is to stick to it when you start feeling those benefit changes, and you just feel better and healthier day in and day out.
Yeah, and I would piggyback onto that and just say set a goal. Because any type of direction without an end point in sight, you're just wandering. If you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve, you can start to work backwards from that goal and set all the foundational pieces that's necessary in order to obtain that. once you reach that goal, don't look down, don't look back, keep going forward.
So last question here, where can people find you and work with you?
We are right behind O'Reilly's and Circle K, 115 East Ninth Street. If you drive down the middle of town, if the only landmark you know is McDonald's, don't turn left, turn right. See the big flag that's on the side of a building, that's where you can find us. We are Freedom Fitness 615 on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website is just freedomfitness615.net, not .com. You can reach out to us, do your consultation. You can just randomly show up, sign a waiver, jump in. Wherever you're at, we'll meet you there, and we'll help you get where you're going.
If you could sit there and leave one message with the listeners, what would it be?
Show up and get started.
Do something hard every day.
All right. Well, guys, we appreciate you coming in today, spending 2 hours with us, getting out of the gym for this here. But a lot of information there, a lot of good stuff. I appreciate it. I know the people you've worked with. I appreciate you two and everybody else over at Freedom Fitness. And, you know, if you're listening in, anything you need from us, please let us know. We'll put it on our Facebook to get it out there. We'll sit there and we'll be selling commercials for all the sports when we start broadcasting that. If you want to buy, you know, a spot there or whatever, we'll figure out, you know, how to do that and we'll get with you there. But other than that, Coach, you got anything?
I don't.
Well, guys,
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Very.
We've
good,
been
very
trying to have y'all on for a couple times, but sickness was one. I think weather was another.
Yeah.
Baby was another.
Yes, we did the ice storm, right?
Yeah, like so.
So it was it's crazy, but
It wasn't
finally
meant to be.
It
finally
needed
got
to be
y'all on.
summertime.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. But anyway, appreciate y'all coming. Everybody else, y'all have a good. Looks like it's going to be a sunny day. I don't know if we got more rain coming or not. But whatever you do, be safe. Appreciate you listening to Off the Rails Sports Saturday, and always tune in to Portland Sports. Yes, Portland Sports Network. I was going to say.
Quit running stoplights, by the way.
And it's come full
That-
circle.
that-
Right back where we started. Yeah, there we go.
As always, go Panthers.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/therightseat.